You know, in the quest to create the perfect video game, almost everything returns to a single point. Is it possible to create an experience that lasts forever? You may have pondered this question after playing a game you particularly enjoy. With all the goddamn advancements we now have at our fingertips, could it even be possible to create a procedural system that can create limitless variations of the same game that allows us to fully enjoy the game for as long as we desire? This is some of that crazy level psycho stuff you dream up late at night when you've been playing way too many video games and begin envisioning an alternate reality where you could never go to work ever again and just play video games until the end of time. Okay, well, maybe this is all completely absurd, and never actually possible, but whatever the answer actually is, it hasn't stopped game makers from attempting this feat time and time again, and it seems it has brought most to one area: survival. One of the first mainstream examples of a survival mode added to a AAA title was the introduction of Horde mode to 2008's Gears of War 2. It allowed players to take on increasingly harder waves of enemies, with a team of up to 4 players on any of the game's multiplayer maps. For the time, it was absolutely revolutionary. Great for scrubs like me that can't handle the versus multiplayer online and play alone in my house for hours while I descend into a pit of everlasting sadness as I realise all of my shortcomings as a human being. But before we all go on some Gears of War celebration, it needs to be stated that while Gears gets the credit, releasing literally 4 days after, Call of Duty World at War also crafted its own brand of survival gameplay, with its inclusion of the zombie mode. This mode was also significantly more complex than Gears of War, featuring a money system that allowed players to unlock the map and buy new weapons. With its later add-ons, the zombie mode became a staple of the Call of Duty experience, adding more depth with each new map. This blend of AI waves and co-op was quickly picked up as a typical mode in many modern games. The idea was spun in a number of ways. Some decided to add fortifications to the mix, giving players the ability to hunker down for the oncoming onslaught. This is seen in Gears of War 3 with the aptly titled Horde 2.0. Players would now be given points for defeating enemies, and could use them to buy defensive features such as turrets and spike traps, a natural evolution of the survival gameplay, and it furthers the core gameplay loop to be continuously enhanced by the player. Call of Duty's follow-up, on the other hand, with Black Ops Zombies, opted to add pseudo-objectives in the form of its Easter eggs and its extra features and upgrades for the weapon. It added entirely original content to this mode, separate from the rest of the experience. This was not the same as World at War that used recycled multiplayer maps. Later maps would require to traverse the level and trigger events as they fought the waves of zombies, either to uncover the storyline or gain special abilities not available in normal gameplay. It was goddamn awesome! It was like 2 games in 1! It's here that the first split of survival began. Many games that opted to follow the zombies route would go on to create procedurally generated levels rather than actually handcrafted ones, and it would then add in generated objectives as well on top of that for added variation to the survival. This in turn marked the return of the roguelike genre, where entire games would be built like this from the ground up. Survival would not end here, however. In 2011, the colossal Minecraft began its journey in its humble alpha state. Its success could have never been foretold, but its incredible blend of sandbox games, like Grand Theft Auto and The Elder Scrolls, with this emerging trend of procedurally generated survival, was absolutely intoxicating. And it quickly became one of the most popular games on the planet. This divergence of survival eventually became the de facto genre for survival games. It seemed that the concept of survival had been taken to its furthest extreme, entirely embracing a more human side of survival that felt more grounded in reality. Players had to brave the unknown, building shelter for the night, and setting out during the day to find precious resources to aid in their survival of the harsh world around them. Minecraft can also be cited as the birth of crafting, which would become a necessity in survival, and its popularity even taking it to other genres. can we all just take a minute to appreciate the fact that Minecraft not only became a worldwide sensation, but it also started a new genre and birthed one of the most overused modern game mechanics? That is insane. We need to give Notch a goddamn Nobel Prize for his service to the industry. This is literally one of the most defining games to have ever existed. Anywho, these three distinct variations of survival now permeate the industry. And it's clear players love the idea of the infinity game, a game that does not have a distinct end, and rather that ends when the player truly feels ready to move on. It's an enthralling proposition for many, of course, and as an escape from the stress of life, an even more poignant proposition for the modern day. Games, however, operate on a thin veil of deceptively enjoyable activities, that if broken, immersion is lost. Survival is particularly vulnerable to this, as a game's generation cannot be anticipated and crafted, so meaningful gameplay and systems need to be built into the very fabric of the game. This is to ensure that a player is never made fully aware of how meaningless many of their actions are. The truth is, if a player feels immersed, and as if they are getting closer to their goal, they need not ever know how futile their efforts are. As in life, we all wish to accomplish things, but in actuality, achieving them often leads to immediate disappointment and discardment, resulting in a search for the next challenge. The journey truly is more important than the destination. Whoa, okay, got pretty intense there. That was kind of an accident. But when you're talking about the idea of surviving down to your last breath being an actually fun activity, maybe you need to reevaluate your life. So, whichever blend of survival you find the most interesting, it's obvious that an incredible depth lurks just below. And with the introduction of virtual reality gaming, the idea of an endless survival in a fantasy world could be a natural endpoint for games as a medium. Everywhere you look, survival games are king, and are showing no signs of that changing. Thanks for watching. I'm really proud of this episode. I put a lot of effort into it and I'm really happy with how it turned out. If you like this one, then why don't you check out some of my past episodes? And if you want to see more, subscribe for more episodes in the future. Anyway, I've been SAXEL, and this is the art of video games.